sound of success, success, success. It's a very different story than it was this time yesterday morning. This is the morning of December the 5th. It is Thursday, December the 5th. Approximately after 7 o'clock, maybe 7:15 a.m. You can see the sun coming up over there. You can still see the wind whipping that flag, and it is cold, cold, cold. Look at that flag being whipping in the winter wind, although it's not probably officially winter until December the 21st, but still, I'm calling it winter. Anyway, it's a very different story. Oh, and look at that. You can see my shadow. Hello, everybody. Hello. Woo! I got my coat on. This time yesterday was very, 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 very frustrating. Stephen didn't know why the truck wasn't starting up by itself, and he had a lot of problem solving to do. And I was very encouraged in the comments this morning. I was not here a large part of yesterday. I was taking care of errands, and I was not here at the house, and so Stephen was doing what he had to do to work on the truck. I was unable to film it. Oh man, I am so cold. Oh, I wish I had my gloves on. But he was doing his thing, and I was doing my thing, and I was not able to film him. And this morning, I noticed in the comments that there was somebody asking for a follow-up video. They said, oh, Ruthie, you're going to have to make up a follow-up video to tell what Stephen did for the truck. So I'm going to go in the house, and Stephen's he's in his bathrobe, and we're going to talk about what he did to fix the truck. Let me get a sneak peek about, let me see what the temperature is. Let me see here. And I don't have any gloves on. All right, well, that's what we're looking at this morning. Not even 20 degrees. So, yeah, it's cold. It's cold. All right, well, we're going to go outside, and we're going to do a little bit of an interview with Stephen. My hands are freezing. Well, everybody, I made it back inside, and look at that. Even the kitty doesn't want to be outside. This is our short-haired kitty cat. This is Joy Boy. And they went outside this morning after being in all night, and they did their business, and they wanted to come back inside. And this cat loves Stephen. This cat is Stephen's buddy. And so when Stephen leaves out to go back out on the road, Joy Boy is going to miss his daddy. Isn't that right? All right, Stephen. Well, I showed everybody that the truck was up and running, and that it started up by itself this morning. I know you're in your bathrobe this morning. I know you just woke up and you have your first cup of coffee, but inquiring minds want to know. So I was greeted this morning with comments like, you must make a follow-up video and let us know what Stephen did. So walk us through yesterday, since I was not here to film it.
Well, I slept in this morning because a week's worth of problems and $400, $500 to $1,000, whatever you want to do the numbers at later. Yesterday morning, I finally got her to start up by herself. Of course, the battery charger's on there, but I got her to start up by herself without having to start the APU up, because generally it wouldn't start the first start. After the first start, it would start all day long. But the first start was the start that I was trying to solve. And every day since the day that I got the truck, the first start, if you didn't have the APU going and you pushed that button, it would just go rah, 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 and pull down the battery so much that it would not turn over again. And so that was the issue. And if I turned on the APU and let it charge up and then hit the button, it would do whoom, it would fire right up. So that's how it's been firing up. Of course, I couldn't have it that way. What would happen if the APU didn't start up, and that happens. And so anyway, that put me on the journey to make sure that thing was going to be correct. That started last Wednesday. And so I originally started with all the grounds. I went through all the grounds on the battery, the grounds where they connect on the chassis in the rear by the batteries, and then went up to the front and checked the grounds on the front that came off the starter to the chassis, and cleaned them up, and it still did the same thing. And then that put me on the hunt. Then I asked about the batteries, and he said they were a year old, but they were cheap Chinese batteries. So I took 2 of them and put them on the forklift because it needed batteries. And then I took those old batteries plus the 2 that came out of the truck and went to Freightliner and got 4 brand new batteries and put in it. And of course, like I said, it's the first start of the day, so I had to wait until the following day. Same thing. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And kill the batteries. And I was like, oh man. So this time when it did that, after I got the batteries, I looked down at the starter, and at first glance everything looks fine. It's a new starter, all the wires look fine, but then I got to noticing that there's 2 wires that had been cut. And one wire was cut, and another one was broke off of the starter. So I jimmy rigged a thing out of an antenna mount and was able to connect the broken wire back to the battery, and it started right up. But of course, this was it had assistance at this point because it had the APU going. So anyway, so the following morning I thought, oh, I had to get it by. So the following morning, or that evening, I went and I got the brass fitting. Or it was the next morning I went and got the brass fitting. Got the brass fitting, and that goes on that broken cable that was on the starter. And I soldered it on, crimped it, soldered it on, and mounted it on there. And this was going to be the first start, and it failed. Wah, 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 and pulled down the batteries. So this time I decided, well, let's see, I've done all the grounds, I've done all the batteries, and I fixed a broken positive wire off of the starter. It's got to be starter. So I took the starter off, and I had a spare starter from the last Freightliner, and put it on, and the following morning, wah, 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 wah. So, okay. So, anyway, when it did that, after doing all that, I was like, well, this time I didn't put the APU on. I just left it on the battery because I hadn't had a start yet. So instead of waiting for the next day, this stuff is kind of running out of time. So yesterday morning, after I did all that, and it still wouldn't start with all that I had done, and mind you, I hadn't been reading y'all's comments. I was just focusing on what I needed to do. Ready to come out there. What you gonna do? I'm like, I really don't know what I'm gonna do. I decided I would just start from the beginning and go back to looking the grounds over. So I took the grounds off of the chassis on the rear that go to the batteries, and I ground everything around the chassis because this is a Michigan truck, ladies and gentlemen. Michigan trucks, salt, gonna have issues. So I ground all around where the connection is, where the bolt goes through the chassis for the ground on the batteries. I ground all down there with fresh metal, and I took all the metal washers and found brass washers and put those in there, and I found an aluminum mount plate off of an antenna and to do the final washer on the outside. Tightened that all down, and then covered it with dielectric grease. And then I went to the front and did the same exact thing and repeated the process. and just put aluminum, brass, and got rid of any metal, ground it down, and put dielectric grease on there and cranked it down as hard as they can get it. And I was like, well, I hope this works, Lord. And I went over there and boom! Didn't need no starting fluid or nothing. Just took right off. And so that was yesterday. So, and mind you, I didn't use the APU to start it. I just left it on the battery charger. So I think it was sitting at 14 amps or volts when it fired off. And so this morning I just walked out as soon as I got my coffee made. I walked out there and it was brisk, baby.
Yeah, very
And,
cold.
I pushed the button and she said, whoa, and then died. I was like, uh-oh. And then I shut off the key, turned it back on, and said, whoa, and she started right up. On her own. She didn't need any help, didn't have no backup. Of course, the battery charger's on because I always leave the battery charge on because if there's anything that's pulling on the battery while it's at home, I want it to be on the battery charger so it doesn't fire off the APU where my neighbors start crying about it being on at 3 a.m. in the morning. So that's why I leave the battery charger on there. And so on my last Freightliner, you know, with my refrigerator and everything in it, you know, I never took stuff out of it when it was at home. I'd always bring it home and plug it in, put it on the little battery charger. That way the APU wouldn't have to fire up while it was sitting there. Whenever the sun was beating on it and the refrigerator would drain the batteries, you know. So and I've learned to do that anytime I have a truck home, is just put it on the battery charger. So I keep it on the battery charger when it's sitting at the house. When I'm on the road, I let the APU kick on when it needs to kick on. When anytime there's a drain, you know, the APU is good about kicking on. So, and plus when it's cold, I'll be turning it on anyway to stay warm. So anyway, so this morning it fired up on its own. Yes, it died, but it fired right back up. So.
But I was going to ask you, why did it die the first time this morning?
I don't know. I don't care. It fired back up.
Okay. And it's out there running now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, people are.
So that's what's happened, and I do appreciate everybody's comments, because after I got it running yesterday and was finally able to take a sigh of relief, although I wouldn't really know until this morning. But I thought that from what I learned, because like I said, I didn't have the APU and it fired up, so I figured that I solved the problem, but I didn't know 100% until this morning. So actually I was relieved because I slept in another hour this morning, and so, or a couple hours. Usually I'm up before daylight. I slept about an hour after daylight, so I slept in about 2 hours. So Mr. Ray and Mr. Tyler and y'all over there at Ace Duran, the truck's firing up. I got the switch in there for the air horn, or the city horn. The city horn works. You just got to put a button on it. And while I'm there, I'm going to fix the buzzer to the, sitting in the truck working on stuff. I'm going to fix the buzzer to the low air. So that's everything. It's all everything is complete. So.
Okay, so today you're going to...
Other than loading up all my gear. So there we go. Truck is ready.
Okay, so today you're going to work on dash work on...
I'm going to be in the truck working on dash stuff.
Well, that's nice. It's not going to be... you'll be out of the...
I've been trying to get to the dash since this time last week.
So the horn works, but you have to hook it up to a button.
Yeah, it needs to be on a button.
You can't just show the DOT a wire and
they're not going to go for that.
Yeah, that's kind of... so what you had was you had a wire and you were touching a wire and then it made the sound.
Yeah.
So Now you got to get it hooked up to a button.
Button, yeah.
All right. Well, the positive thing is, one of the positive things
And
is
the reason why the buzzer doesn't work is because Ken said that he disconnected it. So, and so what I'll hook it back up. I'll get it working.
all right. Well, at least you'll be inside the truck today working on that, and
Well, for a little while.
yeah. So as far as we know, and this is as far as we know, unless something does not happen to mess this up, we will try a third time for the orientation, which would be this coming Tuesday, December the 10th. So hopefully this weekend we can tie up all the loose ends, cross all our T's, and dot all of our I's.
At least get fired up and get the truck functioning and get everything on the doors, and probably get 1 week's of experience in
Before Christmas.
for the holidays kick in, and then we'll be ready to start making money and celebrating the TRUMP presidency.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That his inauguration's in January. That's right.
Drill, baby, drill. Gonna fire the economy back up.
All righty. Well, so that's the goal and then you would leave out, if all goes well, you will leave out on Monday and go have a DOT inspection in Cincinnati on Monday, December the 9th. You'll spend the night in Cincinnati, and you'll have orientation.
Where I'm going for my orientation is in Cincinnati, but TMI is at the 71-75 split, and that's in Kentucky. It's not in Cincinnati.
Oh, so that's going to be where you have the DOT inspection.
It's on my way.
It's on your way.
Yeah.
So you'll, if the Lord allows, you'll have that next Monday and spend the night in Cincinnati on Monday night, and wake up at the hotel and go to your orientation on Tuesday morning, if it all works out this time, and we hope so. And look at this, you're gonna miss a cuddle, buddy. This cat tries to get in Steven's lap all the time, and
He doesn't get in my lap. He sits next to me.
no, yesterday he was in your lap.
Well, sometimes he'll sit on my lap, but that was the old October that wanted to be in my lap all the time.
Right.
These two here just want to be next to me. They follow me around and wherever I'm working and hang out.
There's the other kitty right there. There's his brother, October. He's the long-haired kitty. They're brothers. They're biological brothers. And they were born in December, by the way, 3 years ago. They were born in December 3 years ago. We got them in March, so they are 3 years old. So that one's October, and this one is Joy Boy. And, all right, Stephen. Well, I have a dentist appointment this morning.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Big Belly.
And I'm Bumbles.
And together we are
Big Belly
Bumbles.
Bumbles.
I'm Big Belly.
And I'm Bumbles.
And together we're
Big Belly Bumbles.
See you later.
Big Belly Bumbles.